Alright, good morning. I suppose it's still morning. It's like 11:26 here for me, so by the time the video's up, it's not going to be morning, but I don't know, it might be for you guys. Anyway, that stuff doesn't matter. Just want to make a video, another drop in the bucket, really. Like, everyone's been making videos about this stuff, and as another human being with an opinion, I feel not obliged to, but like, I want to. We all have thoughts. We should all get them out. We should all connect with one another and better understand each other, the world around us, etc. Um, I might talk about them more throughout the video. We'll see. You'll see too. Anyway, start with the obvious stuff. Clock's out. Um, really surprising to me. Remember when I found out? There's a lot of planes going overhead. Excuse that. I remember when I found out. Speaking of planes, I was at work. It's like I work at an airport. I was like walking around somewhere, but I checked my phone and I got a notification that one of my friends says like clock is removed, FTO is getting added. I think clock removed was the bigger part. I'm like, dang, dude, because I mean I've never been somebody who really practiced clock or was good at it. I learned 7 simul. I didn't get any faster with it. I had an average of 50 with it though, which was just whatever. Or an average like 8 with 7 simul, like 7.9 or 8 with flips, so like the same. But anyway, clock's never been one of my events. I've always really enjoyed competing in it though. I have here, I'm gonna be consulting my notes on the laptop here on occasion. It's been one of my worst events, but one of the most fun to compete in. I've spontaneously gotten really good results without practicing at all. One that comes to mind, a few that come to mind actually. NJ Champs 2024, I got like a 7.4 average, which was, I don't know if it was overall PB or not, but like, I never practiced. I wasn't staff for that comp. I was practicing megaminx or whatever. But I guess 7.4 average is like really darn good for me. At Worlds, in the one round, again, I don't think I practiced at all. Maybe 10, 15 solves warming up to it. I got like a 5 single. I'm gonna check my single right now. Probably cut this part out. Alright, let's see. 574 single. That was at Worlds. Yeah, Worlds 2025 got a 5.74 single, which is like, I think my overall PB is like 5.4 or 5.5, so it's like basically overall PB. And I DNF'd another 5 in the same round. I think it was a DNF average as well. But yeah, like, it's all with flip too. I wasn't faster with simul and didn't enjoy it. But anyway, to get back on track, clock has always been an event that I didn't care about. I don't think a lot of people cared about it. Well, until recently, of course. But now it's actually, no, scratch that. A lot of people do care about clock. I'm not one of them. I know a bunch of my friends aren't exactly people that care about clock, but that doesn't mean that there's no one out there for clock. Clock, I think, is like the don't laugh. It's like the 6th or 7th, I think, most competed in an event. I have it on the shirt too. But it's up there for one of the most competed in events, especially after 7 simul. We've had the growth of 7 simul, the birth of 7 simul, I guess, was one of the most fun world record like chasings or whatever in cubing that I've ever seen. I've been cubing since 2016 as well, just to put that in perspective. So I'm coming up on 10 years in, well, I guess it's been 10 years since I've gone to my first comp. Anyway, I keep getting off track. It's probably gonna happen a lot. Shoot, where was I? Yeah, the clock world record boom. Seeing everybody get world records with 7 simul, all of the WR singles and WR averages that of people I've never heard of before. Neil Gore, I think he has one world record. Like, I didn't know who he was. Eric Kasparek got like world record average and beat world record single like 3 times in that average or something crazy like that. But it was like one of the coolest things to watch. And this was only what, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, now like 3 or 4. But now the WC has decided, oh, this event's not worth it. We're just gonna remove it. Excuse me, not the WCA, just the board. I think it's 5 board members. Not that it really matters because I don't want to be speedist, but for those who are speedist, I think they had a combined PR average of like 14 seconds. So they're not exactly the fastest cubers, but that doesn't really matter. Fast cubers shouldn't exactly be the ones to dictate everything because there's more not fast cubers than fast cubers. Anyway, but I believe, as far as what I've heard, the board did not consult other committees. They didn't exactly consult the results on here on the survey either, because they put out a survey like 2 weeks before or something. Anyway, I'm going to read a bunch of quotes I have here. Yeah, it's always been one of my worst events. These are a bunch of quotes from the statement that WCA put out. One of them goes, the first one I'm down, I have like five here. Continues to be a relatively problematic event, as frequently highlighted by WCA volunteers and community members. Um, so as somebody who's volunteered, I don't know if this counts as a WCA volunteer. I've staffed at many regional champs. I've organized 6 comps now. I haven't organized with Clock, but I've staffed a lot of comps with Clock. Um, this kind of goes hand in hand with the next one, or I'll go with the problematic stuff. I don't, as far as my experience goes, it's not problematic. The only things problematic about it are like judges not knowing to flip the clock over to check that it's solved. But that's just like an experience issue. Like there's always gonna be new competitors judging. I guess that just goes for like have better new competitor tutorials or more. Everyone has an email. Email new competitor tutorials to people. That's something I've been a big fan of. But I think that just comes down to like training, lack of experience, etc. Like people are always going to learn. Everyone's always open to learning. So I don't know about problematic. Like the only other thing is like DNFs. Like there's no +2s in Clock. Still is for the next year. I think there should be +2s. Like if you only need to turn one dial. I'm not a decision maker. I'm just a person with an opinion. So yeah. Anyway, next quote kind of goes hand in hand with this one. Running clock competitions can be challenging as it's difficult to scramble correctly and requires the use of different procedures or equipment for other speed solving events. Determining whether a clock is solved and seeing a competitor progress through a solve are not easily visible at a distance to substantially reduce the spectator appeal of the event, particularly to non-specialist audiences. So if we can kind of split this one into 2 parts. Running can be challenging as it's difficult to scramble correctly and requires use of different procedures or equipment. Alright, so we'll tackle this in a couple ways. Running clock at comps can be challenging. Again, I have a lot of organizer and I won't count the organizer experience. I haven't organized with Clock, I don't think. But volunteer experience, like it's just another event. It's an average of 5. You scramble the cube and give it out 5 times. From my experience, it's like the easiest event to scramble. Maybe besides, I want to say 2x2, maybe 3x3 is easier to scramble. But like other than that, Clock is really easy. The notation is very intuitive. It has, I think, other than like 2-3 pyraminx or 2 pyraminx cube, I think it has the least amount of pieces you have to check. Because on a 3x3 there's 20. On a Clock there's 9 in each side, so 18. And realistically the corners are, I think, are the same on either side, so it's like, what's that, 14? So like it's very easy to scramble, very easy to check. If you miss scramble Clock, this is a fun one too. If you miss scramble Clock, it's really easy to fix. Like I think it's like I'm not a data person or stat person, so I don't really know, but it's like something quantitative, but it essentially means like if you miss scramble Clock, you don't have to solve it and like re-scramble it. You can just like oh, I did like a U3 minus instead of a U4 minus, and at the end of the scramble you just do like flip it over, do another like U1 minus, and then like it's fixed. So scrambling Clock, running Clock, judging Clock, checking scrambling Clock, like it's all really simple. It's not hard to do at all. Determining whether a clock is solved and seeing a competitor progress through the solve are not easily visible at a distance. This goes into the non-specialist. It goes into the non-competitor spectator stuff. I'm gonna go into this next after my next couple quotes. But essentially, like the WCA has really been pushing. I guess maybe the WCA and the community have really been pushing to be more spectator friendly. The way that it feels for the WCA is like they're kind of trying to cater towards being a big spectacle, catering to spectators and non-cubers and people that aren't knowledgeable about I was gonna say the sport. Sport's up for debate. I'll just call it a sport because like it's easier to say activity, I guess. Damn bee just flew in the window, I think. Where was I? About spectators. Yeah, so like they're trying to really focus. It feels like they're really trying to put a lot of focus on spectators, and it also acts like the people that don't really care for growth in that area. Like they're trying to, geez, hang on. They're trying to like kind of cater towards both, but it's helping neither. I'm gonna get into that in a little bit though. Let's see. Next quote. Clock. Clock is highly dissimilar from these puzzles. And then another sentence later is like, removing clock strengthens the WC's identity as being an organization for three-dimensional geometric twisty puzzles, and not other mechanical puzzles. Clock is highly dissimilar. That is true. This is kind of like one of those things where like, it doesn't really make sense that clock was in the WC at first. Of course, they removed magic, which is another non-twisty puzzle. I mean, it's a puzzle that twists, but it's not like that. Not in the sense of like a 3x3 or a Scube or like a 7x7 or a megaminx is a twisty puzzle. Like, it would be much more reasonable and much more accepted for, I think, them to remove clock at the same time that they remove magic, because they have a lot in common. They're both, I feel like they're both in cubing just because of the Rubik's name, even though they weren't really puzzles in the sense. But clock was kept around. And then, of course, a couple of years ago, like I said, it blew up 7 simul. Everyone got really fast. It's one of the most competitive events and one of the most fun to watch. You can get a lot of upsets with DNFs and stuff. So I think it is really spectator friendly. Of course, like, actually seeing whether it's solved is hard, but like that doesn't matter. Like, if you're sitting like 8 feet away, you're not gonna, especially if someone's solving under the table. Like, this is for all the spectator stuff. Like, it's as easy to tell if a clock is being solved as it is if like a 5x5 is being solved from like, maybe a clock's a little harder, but like if you're sitting, I don't know, if you're at a big comp sitting 15-20 feet away from the station, like, you can't tell what's going on a clock. You can't really tell what's going on a 5x5. You can maybe see like yaw edges or like centers. Big cubes you can't tell. Megaminx you can't really tell. And then, of course, like small events like 2x2 Pyraminx you can't tell just because like it's over in 1.3 seconds. I'm at 1.3 seconds. So like the spectator friendly stuff, you can put out spectator friendly stuff for every event, and there's always going to be an argument for it. Maybe besides 3x3, because that's like the main event. If they really care about spectator friendliness, then like, I was going to say remove FMC and multi, but multi-blind is honestly one of the most fun events to watch. Especially, I live in Mid-Atlantic, so I go to comps with like Andrew Tao, Kevin Liu, Ro Hessler sometimes. Then like, whatever, I forget the other guy's name, or some of the other people. But there's some really good multi-solvers, and watching them bang out like 30, 40, 50 cubes is just nuts. Little side note, this is just one of the craziest things I've ever seen in cubing. It was at Mid-Atlantic Quad Champs last year, 2025. Andrew Tao did like a huge attempt. That was like, I don't know, 48 cubes or something, 52, maybe 53. But he was midway through his memo. He finished most of them. He had 2 off to the side. He picked up, like, of course, while he was blindfolded, he was done everything, picked up one of the cubes from over there that he like forgot earlier, and then solved it and put it back. And like that's one of the coolest things I've ever seen in cubing. Of course, doesn't beat 3x3 finals at Worlds last year, but nothing could really beat that. That was nuts. But like stuff like that, man. Everything can be spectator friendly. Everything also has issues that can make it not spectator friendly. So like, there's points for everything. I rambled way too much on that point. Goodness gracious, excuse me. Organization for three-dimensional geometric twisty puzzles and not other mechanical puzzles. This reminded me of another point. Clock needing different equipment from other events. I feel like this is kind of easy to get around. I don't think it doesn't need new equipment anymore. As of the pin regulations, you can use regular cube covers and just pick it up, and it's like flat on the mat. Square One, of course, has different equipment. I feel like Square One's also a weird event where it's like three-dimensional shape, but other than cube shape, there's like there's a limitation on what pieces can be where. Kind of FTO as well, but I'm not for or against FTO being added or not added. Like, I'm neutral. I'm probably not going to compete in it. But like Square One feels like one of those events where it's like there's like 3 different things you can move. You can move the top, you can move the bottom, or you can move the slice. You can only move the slice twice, so it's kind of like, I don't know if ambiguity is the right word, but like it just kind of feels like maybe bittersweet. Like they just kind of removed clock just for the hell of it. Like, they didn't really think about other events, or they didn't think about what they said. Next quote, changes in this announcement will be disappointing for some, but consider these to be important strategic changes that strengthen the WCA's core identity and best set us up for future success. The WCA's core identity, in my eyes, has always been like holding the most, I think it's like the mission statement is like, it might have changed, but I remember it was like holding competitions and holding people up to equal standards, or having competitions all over where as many competitors compete at, or something like that. I don't know. Somebody correct me, but um, I think removing events, especially events that are huge like clock, is not good to the WCA's identity if they want to cater towards more competitors and be more spectator friendly, like I guess they want to. Don't remove events that remove competitors and spectators. I know the Dunnigans have been very vocal about this. I think I have kind of the same views on some of the stuff as Brandon does, based on one of his comments in the video. Just stay here, go away. But like, yeah, removing an event, it just kills the community. It divides us, as we can really tell. Like, there's been a lot of division in the community, not just over this, but like with other stuff as well. How major championships are organized, structured, how things should be going. I'm gonna get into that very soon. But yeah, I just don't think it helps the WCA. Like, it breaks us up. Then next I have the survey results. These are funny. So if you go up to the top, I'm just kind of looking on here. I'll probably link this in the description. So let's see. To go off base here, excuse me. Let's see. So I think there was like 5 different things you could select for each one. Strongly agree is plus 2.0 and strongly disagree is minus 2.0. So, and 0.0 of course is in the middle. For adding events, WC volunteers were plus 0.5, so generally wanted events to be added, and the community plus 1.2. So people wanted events to be added, which is cool. I mean, I was neutral, but I'm just a drop in the bucket, like I said. People wanted events to be added, which is cool. FTO was, I think, by far the most popular, which is dope. FTO seems kind of cool. Again, I'm not too interested in the puzzle. I bought one and sold it to Yi. Shout out. Side note, I think Mini Guildford would be a dope one. Have like a long event like multi-blind. I guess it wouldn't be like multi-blind length, but like, dude, Mini Guildford is so fun. Shout out to Sean's XWR in that. And they're removing events. WCA volunteers were minus 0.1, so they didn't want events to be removed, but like it was like marginally. The community was minus 0.7, so the community definitely didn't want events being removed as well. And then this is another interesting part. So within WCA volunteers, Clock was the most interested to remove event, 131 answers, and 5 blind was next with 78. So it was like, what, about 60 more than the next one for Clock. The community didn't even have that margin. The community said 5 blind should be removed the most at 1100, and then Clock at 1000, right around the same. Only 97 between them. 97, a difference of 97. So like the community didn't think Clock was the most important to be removed. I don't think any events should have been removed. Like, the WCA works very well. I'm not, of course, a decision maker in the WCA. Again, another drop in the bucket. But I don't think anything should be removed. If Clock should have been removed, it should have been long ago when Magic was done. 5 blind, I don't think it should be removed. If anything is removed, it's just gonna, again, hurt communities. It's gonna invalidate people's practice. I know this is kind of a beating a dead horse. People have really put a lot of practice into these events, and then like them getting removed is just kind of like killing it, and then they don't have anything to do, any events to practice. Let's see what do we got next. Alright, so both the volunteers and community were not favorable to not adding events, so it was minus 0.6 for volunteers, minus 0.9 for the community. It was split half and half on add events only if no existing events are removed. So volunteers generally didn't want events to be added if none were removed, and the community generally did. Let's see. Then it started to get negative from add events while reducing the status of some other events, like excluding them from championships. Neither one of that's happened. Add events while removing some other events was negative on both, minus 0.2 and minus 0.5. So like, overall, volunteers and the community didn't want events to be removed at the cost of other events. Like, and then the last one is really funny. Remove or reduce the status of events without adding new events. So just removing events without without adding FTO was minus 0.8, minus 1.3. Of course that didn't happen, but like, people didn't want events to be removed. The board did it anyway. Geez, I'm really rambling. I'm like 10 minutes here or something crazy like that, maybe. Like, the board just kind of removed clock without consulting other committees, the survey results, or the community a whole. I think there's only a small amount of people that are really glad clock is removed. I'm not one of them. I don't think it should have. It only makes it worse. I've said that like 73 times now. So, on to the next part. The community has been split on two very different sets of opinions. The WCA is really struggling to cater to both and like satisfy both. So from what I've seen, and my opinions, of course, like my opinion is like a fluid, like all of our opinions like fluids. They just change. They're influenced by other opinions, influenced by what we hear and who we talk to and what happens. But I'm more of the boat of like I enjoy cubing as a hobby, not something crazy competitive. I really like going to comps to like hang out with my friends. I like seeing new places, which is why I went to like Southeast, for example, and Great Lakes. But I just enjoy that aspect of cubing, of like hanging out with people, meeting new people, going to new places, having new experiences. Um, of course, it's always, and then going to big comps like regional champs or major champs is always fun because there's more people to meet, there's cooler places to go. Competing in comps at a huge scale like that, I think is really fun. But I think a lot of competitors have different ideas of how it's fun. Like I just enjoy it because, I mean, like I said, competing with a lot of different people, um, seeing how I rank against like especially Worlds, megaminx, and like I guess other regional champs, but that really backfired because Great Lakes champs was a horrible comp for me. Um, I got fourth at that comp. I was kind of projected to get first, but it didn't happen. It was a horrible result. Anyway, like going to Worlds and like seeing how I stacked up against other megaminx solvers was really fun. I was much more passionate about megaminx back then, and I've always wanted to get involved in the community, but never really did, to be honest. That doesn't really, I don't think it really takes away from it. And on the other hand, of my perspective, we have a lot of cubers that want to see cubing grow through like the most professional atmosphere, want it to be a big spectacle, want it to kind of put on a show, and I guess I don't know how unanimous it is that like cubers want them to get paid. I am not in that boat. I don't understand the logic behind it. Of course, it's good to have spectators. Like, I just watched Parker's video. Parker's one of my homeboys, dude. I've known him for so long. I've also watched Elijah and Livia's video and Tommy Cherry, and there's some other ones out there of other random cubers, which is good. We need random cubers' opinions. So you make a video too because you have an opinion as well, and it needs to be voiced. But so I've collected a bunch of different opinions. Geez, where was I? It seems the general consensus is like, yeah, it's good to have spectators for cubing. Of course, cubing's fun to watch. A lot of us got into it by watching cubing. I'm actually not one of those people. One of my friends knew how to solve a cube. Shout out to Mason. He's like crazy at bowling now. So if you bowl in Indiana, you might know him. But he got me into cubing. I didn't know any cubing content before that. It might have been like a year since I like picked up cubing YouTube, or maybe less than that. But like I didn't get into cubing through being a spectator. I just kind of like learned how to solve a cube on the Rubik's website. I went to a couple comps to check it out. My second ever comp I didn't compete in, but I stayed the entire time, and it was the most fun I've ever had at a comp. Maybe it's like top 10 for me. Prince Fall 2016. Shout out. But I've never really been a big fan of like. I've never really been a proponent of like blowing up cubing, making it like a worldwide sport recognized on an Olympic scale or something like that. Because at least for me, and of course opinions will differ from person to person, cubing's value really comes from the connections we make with each other. It really sounds corny, but like this is so real, bro. It really, the value in cubing really comes from like the connections we make with each other, the experiences we have, and just being able to compete. Like I go to any Mid-Atlantic comp and like Parker's there, Maddie's there. There's like 5 sub-6 averages in 3x3 in our region. Michael Nielsen's there. Freaking megaminx in New York is cracked, dude. Never gonna be able to beat Matt Leong, dude. They have 3 sub-30 averages just in like the New York City area, basically, which is nuts. Zane, of course. Sujin's only one, I think it's like 1 or 2 states away. I forget what he's in, but like I'm in a region where I see a lot of fast cubers, and they're always fun to hang out with. Like it's just cool being going to the same comp as them, and you can also have like a new competitor who has never been to a comp before, meets all these new people, and averages like 55 on 3x3, or like just learn how to solve a 2x2, taught themselves pyramids. Like you have all these people going to comps together, and I think it really makes it special and really makes it like a mutual sort of close thing. But I think if cubing is more geared to like, okay, let's focus on like the the aspect of how big it is and like all these spectators. Just like 10 minutes, 20 minutes here, but that's good. You can skip around if you get bored. Um, I think focusing too much on all of the spectators and like all of the top competitors being fantastic to watch kind of alienates the other fan base. It I'm sort of between them. It's really weird. For context, I'm top 100 for megaminx. I'm WR 25 for megaminx single. It's not fair, honestly. That was overall PB. It shouldn't even be like top 50 to be honest. But like, so I'm a I don't know about high level competitor. I'm just some guy that happened to get fast at megaminx because it's like easy to scramble and fun to learn. But like, I'm a fast cuber that's um, I'm pretty confident I'll make NAC megaminx finals. I'll talk about this one in a second. But I'm a fast cuber who's like kind of almost at the level of um, like being at the top. Not really, but I kind of I'm around a lot of people like that, but I don't agree with them. Like I think cubing's most valuable in the community as a whole and like the friendships and stuff, instead of the spectacle aspect of it. That kind of wanted me to. That kind of makes me want to shift into the next one. Um, the streaming stuff for cubing, I think is really dope. Carter Williams, Clady Studios is streaming NAC. He's been one of my homeboys in cubing since like 2022. He's really cool, and he puts on a really good stream for Clicky. Those guys kill it. Um, but for the whole streaming thing, I think it's very valuable. Like it's really fun to be able to watch what people's solves are like at comps, especially if you're not there. Like if I can't go to like Worlds, I'm not gonna go to Worlds next year just because Sweden doesn't interest me. Um, but like I won't be able to go to Worlds. Of course, I'll watch the stream. Um, but it's very valuable. It's very good to have. It only brings us closer, and we can cheer on our friends and all that good stuff. The only thing is like, so I'm on stream for megaminx at NAC. I think I'm third in the I'm ranked third in like round one, group two or something, on the red stage I think. So I'm on stream. I sent out an email to the NAC organizational team because like from Great Lakes champs, I kind of realized like the stream being on stream really affects my nerves, and it just kind of puts an unrealistic standard on my solving. Like I'm just some guy. I just want to like at this point I kind of just want to like get a couple rounds, just like see if I can PR. I really want to PR, and then I'll probably stop doing megaminx at least for the time being. I was different earlier or before, like a year or two ago when I was really at it. I was like, oh cool, I'm on stream, man. But now it just kind of more feels like I'm being part of something that I don't think cubing should be. Not saying that the stream shouldn't exist. I just don't think I'm worthy, man. I don't think competitors should have to be on stream if they don't want to. So I emailed the organizational team asking if I could not be on stream. You know, just like switch to a different group. Like I'll go compete on a side stage. At least maybe put me on a different, like the next station over, so just then I don't have to have like an overhead camera, different judging arrangement. There's like the OK thing. There's like wires going up. It just feels weird. It's I guess you can call it an unequal environment for competitors, I guess. But that was denied, and it really surprised me. And hello, I have a friend here, a little fly buzzing around. That really surprised me, seeing that I got denied, because like it doesn't take much to just like scooch me over to like another station. But the idea was that as a high level competitor, I should be able to like deal with like the nerves and the aspect of being. Let me pull up the email, but it was like being able to deal with like as a high level competitor, you should be able to deal with this sort of thing. I'm pulling up the email right now. Come on, load. Gee, where is it? Oh, it's in my other email. Nice. I switched accounts, and it's in the account I switched from. I didn't have to close that. Jeez. All right, here we go. All right. Seating arrangements and stream selection will not be changed for personal preference. Performing under pressure in front of spectators is part of the experience of being a top competitor at a major championship. I mean, yeah, I'm going to be performing in front of spectators as I do virtually every competition. That's fine. Like, I'm always going to be. There's always going to be people watching your solves. Part of the experience of being the top competitor. Like, yeah, I guess so. But I feel like the privilege of being a top competitor, the privilege of being on stream, should also come with the privilege of not wanting to be on stream. Like I just kind of want to go up and do 5 solves, man. Like, is it too much to ask for? Like, I think Arhan Serene is in my group. He beat me at Great Lakes Champs, so like throw him on the stream. He's like 4th or 5th in the group. I think 5th in the group. So like, yeah, switch us around maybe. And it's just kind of silly. Like, cubing it feels like it's really blown up to be something that it's not, something that it wasn't in the past. There is definitely a place for it. I think, like, as we can see with Monkey League and PSL to a lesser extent, because I don't want to pay $90 competing 3x3 and $30 just to watch like Joe 7.3 average get third. Anyway, no diss. But I think there's definitely a different place for cubing to grow. In the spectator broad, like, fast cuber space. I don't think the WCA I think wants to find that and like grow there, but I don't think it's happening. They're not. It feels like they're not really. They don't really want. They want to do like both, but they're not doing either. They're not able to help out competitors like me, and they're also not able to help out fast competitors. So like they're not helping either one. And it just really feels weird. Another thing I wanted to throw in there, just looking at my notes, in Parker's video, he said nerves are a skill issue. Like, okay, let's accommodate for that then. People get nervous. I used to not get nervous, but getting on stream makes it a little more high stakes, and like, I don't want that. Like, there are competitors that like being on stream. I used to be like that, so like, yeah, ask the competitors, like, if you want to be on stream, then yeah. They put out a survey. I think they put out a survey to fast cubers, so like I was in it as well, asking if as a competitor you wanted to be like interviewed or broadcasted or like mic'd up during the round, and I'm like, no dude, I just want to go compete. Like, it's really weird. Cubing has come from let's see, what was it, Nats 2019, 7 years ago? Dang, dude, that's a long time. Yeah, 7 years ago, jeez. But it's like cubing before was like, I think Nats 2019 was what, 500 competitors? It's like you go to comps, you hang out with your friends, you go compete in a big round, and there's fast people in your round, and you're like, oh dang, cool dude. And even I'm still like that, like as a fast megaminx solver, that's like 2nd or 3rd in the group. I'm like, dang dude, Zeke's in my group, that's so cool. But now it's like, alright, you have good results that you happen to get in comp, therefore you're going to be on stream whether you like it or not. We're going to put on, it's going to be a spectacle, and we want it to be the biggest thing ever. And like, no dude, that's not where cubing comes from. That's not the special, that's not why, that's not what makes it special. And like, remember, know your place where you came from as a competitor. Not all of us came from cubing as a spectator. Of course people are now. It's very cool to have like stuff like the documentary, and Monkey League's really valuable as well. I think it's great to watch that stuff for free and that it's being put on. But like, not everyone wants to be part of that. The vast majority of cubers just go to comps, want to hang out with their friends, and dip. I think the WCA trying to make these convention-style worlds and worlds, continental champs, Nats, but also be like focused on high-level competitors at the same time and removing rounds. Like, NAC's 2 rounds of megaminx this year. Like, I've organized comps with 2 rounds, and it's not going to be any different then, right? Other than being a little more exclusive. But like, it just really is changing. It feels weird. Nobody's getting the benefit of it. Clock solvers, of course, are losing a ton. High-level competitors aren't satisfied by the WCA. competitors like me aren't satisfied with the WCA, so like it's not really helping anybody out. Jeez, I'm coming up in 30 minutes. I really hope this is still recording. But anyway, I think that's about all I wanted to cover. I'm really curious to hear all of your guys' thoughts. I'm not gonna say comment down below like to get views because I don't care about views. I mean, I want views because I want people to understand my opinion and I want people to understand each other's opinion, but I don't want to like bait people, of course. So I want to hear about what you guys all think. It's always really fun to hear other perspectives, and I think it helps us grow and not become so closed-minded, and we can become aware of our surroundings, aware of the world around us, and what the community wants. And yeah, later, dude.